Here the Russian land offers up its immense natural wealth with ease. It spreads beneath your feet the color of bright sunshine. In resources, Russia has all it takes to be a prosperous, happy place. But the harvest everywhere is flawed. Somewhere between the potential that Russia holds and its realization, there is a breakdown. David Dagaldian is a pioneer of the new ideological orthodoxy. He is a private farmer on lands that for 70 years were worked collectively. He doesn't own the land. Private land ownership is still illegal here, but he owns the machinery and the crops, and they are his to sell to the highest bidder. At the grain market in Rostov-On-Don, the highest bid isn't much, £180 for 9 tons. No one has any money. The economy is so impoverished that it's almost emptied of cash. Trade by barter is widespread.
Бартерная система, ну как, мы фермеры, мы свои деньги считаем, мы бартером, ну запасами, у нас ангар есть, мы храним зерно или подсолнечник, и за счет этого мы как-то еще держимся. В числе первых начинали у нас в районе, кто в числе первых начинал, тем лучше, а сейчас, которые попозже, им уже ловить у нас нечего, как по-русски говорят.
In Rostov, where his combine harvester was made, the combine harvester is king, elevated to a heroic status, on a pedestal facing the palace of culture. For Rostov used to make most of the agricultural machinery for the entire Soviet Union and its allies. The economy was so structured that the entire city depended on the factory. It used to produce 80,000 combine harvesters a year. Now it makes 1,500. That's less than 2% capacity. The workforce has halved and more layoffs are coming soon. Those who remain rattle around in the shell of a once mighty enterprise with little to keep them busy. And even when they sell, their customers cannot afford to pay in cash. They too barter.
1 month ago, our factory signed with the Bulgarian commercial structure a contract which envisages 60% of advance payment for our harvesters and 40% of the delivery from Bulgarian part of their traditional goods that are fruit and vegetable conserves. Pickles, fruits, juices, etc., which the administration of the factory decided to sell to the workers of our enterprises as an element of compensation of the salary.
Paid in pickled gherkins, thousands of jars of them. The workforce queue at the factory's grocery shop to claim their share. There is nothing else on offer, only gherkins. The old Soviet compulsion for bureaucracy extends to keeping a detailed record of each individual's gherkin entitlement. Gherkins from Bulgaria instead of cash, as though southern Russia does not have more than enough pickled gherkins of its own. The effect of this goes beyond material hardship. For a people raised on the belief that they lived in the greatest economy in the world, it comes first as shock and then as humiliation.
Нам дайте за троих поработать и за троих покушать, и мы будем счастливы, потому что действительно русский человек без работы, что птица без крыльев.
What are the political consequences of shock and humiliation, of anger like this? Nikolai Altansky came here 30 years ago, answering a patriotic socialist appeal for more workers in this industry. He has now seen the unravelling of everything he thought his country stood for.
Century's End has produced a curious chronological symmetry. In a sense, we're witnessing the reversal of history. Stalin destroyed that class of independent peasant smallholders and created instead an industrial proletariat to drive the great engine of social and economic progress. Marxism-Leninism decreed this historically inevitable, and now it's all going into reverse. The collapse of the industrial economy has deprived Stalin's proletariat of their natural habitat, and of necessity they're evolving into something else. Older, pre-Soviet ways of surviving, peasant ways, are re-emerging now amid the ruins of the great flawed experiment in social engineering.
Nikolai has a small cottage or dacha outside the city. Its garden feeds his family year-round.
Нынешняя заработная плата я бы не смог ничего купить. А я уж со своей кушаю огурчики. Еще ни одного не покупали на рынке. Только со своей дачи все же самое.
Nikolai's life savings were wiped out in the hyperinflation of the early 90s. Their value fell to 10 pence. In the last 6 months he's been paid wages totalling £10, enough for 50 loaves of bread. He has no mortgage, there is no system of credit in Russia, so no one has. Nikolai's dacha belongs to the factory. Home loans are unknown, so interest rate hikes, even of 100%, make no direct impact on this cashless subsistence lifestyle. It is history full circle. He has taken the journey his forefathers took, but in reverse, from industry back to small husbandry, from the mass mobilization of wage labor to a precarious peasantry, clawing survival from the bare earth. In the family kitchen, which she calls her one-woman canning factory, Nikolai's wife pickles and preserves, salts away her home produce in sealed jars that will see them through the winter. And the food goes into the cool darkness of the cellar, along with the fish Nikolai caught, salted and dried in April. In an economy where no one gets paid, it is the only way to avoid starvation.
Лучше мы не ожидаем. Хуже еще будет. Это уже видно по этому. Раз у нас рабочие заводы не начинают работать, значит никакого. А у нас так, раз у нас построена жизнь, что только мы можем работать на заводах. Часть вот у нас тех людей, которых сокращаете, они не смогли приобрести жилье на данное время, они вертаются опять в село. Но в селе тоже нету денег, и они садятся на шею родителям.
The professional middle classes are equally impoverished. At the local higher education institute, there's no electricity. The classrooms, unlike the corridors, get natural light. Sergei Sushchi is a young professor. He has a PhD and has written 2 books. Today is payday. This month he gets 70 rubles, £7. He takes whatever manual work he can find to support himself in an academic post that doesn't pay. Without it, he would have to abandon education altogether.
Академические исследования в России прекратили существовать. Может быть, они остались в Москве, в Петербурге, но на юге России и в других провинциальных городах их уже просто нет. То есть люди должны зарабатывать где-то деньги на стороне или уходить из науки вообще.
The Soviet Union turned an illiterate peasant society into a highly educated population. Now Russia is turning university professors into house painters.
А вот с наукой, особенно с наукой фундаментальной, физика, химия, электроника, атомная энергетика, здесь, конечно, много тяжелее. И я думаю, что здесь Россия, видимо, потеряла свои позиции, и вряд ли когда-нибудь, может быть, в ближайшие 10-15 лет она их вернуть не сможет.
How do you turn around the immense dereliction of post-Soviet industry to produce a plant capable of competing in the global economy? The answer in this state-of-the-art car plant is simple. Tear down the old and start again from scratch. The Korean car manufacturer Daewoo has a temporary workforce of 60 here, installing the plant and training local workers. But this is not foreign investment. The whole thing is paid for by local business tycoons, that tiny elite in Russian society that has become super rich since the fall of communism. Do they hold the key to Russia's recovery? Can crony capitalism evolve into a regulated market economy? Most of Russia's billionaire oligarchs prefer to hoard their wealth abroad. They control a corrupt and even criminal economy based on plunder, not investment. This group, called Don Invest, is different. Their gamble is huge. Will anyone in Russia be affluent enough to buy the cars they plan to make? And what of Russia's political instability? What price Don invest if there's a return to communism? The group's head, at 36, has sunk millions of his own money into this rare attempt to kickstart a capitalist economy, and is confident.
Communist Party not as before. There is another Communist Party. I am not a communist. I am a capitalist. But I'm not afraid if change the government in our country, because in any country necessary new plants, necessary workers' place, necessary money, necessary production. And I think if in our country will be clever government, does not matter communist or democratic or something like this, for the all government necessary people who makes plants, who makes production.
Even if it thrives, the automated plant will employ just 500 workers. Doninvest says no one over 30 need apply. Russia is becoming a sad and resentful place. Its fledgling democracy will not flourish, overwhelmed by poverty and humiliation. The gift of the Don, Russia's vast, untapped natural resource base, is there, ever present, patient, persevering. The challenge, still unmet, is to bridge the gap between potential and realization.